Doctor, thank you so much for joining us, first of all. PTSD is obviously something that is a very real issue here for anyone that was at the concert, right?
It's certainly a possibility. First, let me thank you for having me today. PTSD is also known as post-traumatic stress disorder. Post-traumatic stress disorder can occur when someone has experienced a very frightening event, especially if they had witnessed something horrible or tragic happening, or if they felt a fear for their own lives. Oftentimes when someone has experienced a traumatic event, witnessed a traumatic event, there are normal reactions that can occur. People can have difficulty sleeping, they may have memories that come back, they may just feel on edge or experience things that normally would not bother them as particularly frightening. Normal reactions. These things can last for about a month or so, and oftentimes we can see them gradually go away. Post-traumatic stress disorder occurs when those symptoms do not get better over time, and oftentimes they get worse. You can have individuals having things like nightmares or flashbacks. They can feel as if they're sort of living in a dream, not really tied to reality. Oftentimes you'll see them avoiding memories or reminders of the event that occurred. And then we also see difficulty concentrating, irritability, maybe just not enjoying the things in life that they used to. When that starts to impact their ability to really live life day to day, function as a parent, as a friend, as an employee, that's really when we start to get concerned that someone may have developed post-traumatic stress disorder.
What if somebody, you mentioned those other people that might see those symptoms that are exhibited in someone else? What should that person do to help?
The first thing is everyone needs to understand that although these are normal reactions, especially right after a traumatic event, it's important to find somebody to talk to. Oftentimes being able to process what it was that you had witnessed or experienced is part of the healing process, so no one should be suffering in silence. And certainly if someone is having a very hard time coping with all of the symptoms that they may have, difficulty sleeping and the like, to reach out and get some help. Sometimes it's just a matter of having a conversation with someone who can listen, whether that is a pastor or a friend or someone, a mental health professional. Oftentimes it's short interventions like that can work. Other times, if someone is really struggling, then we look at more intensive behavioral health, counseling, and supportive services.
Any other type of treatment that, just to continue on as far as that goes, that would be useful?
It really depends on the individual and what works for them. Sometimes just a brief therapy can be very helpful. It really depends on the individual.
Doctor, what are some of the other triggers? I know you've mentioned in the past that like anniversaries, the 1 month anniversary, the 6 month anniversary, is that a trigger, and talk about some of the others that could crop up?
Sure. So when we talk about triggers, essentially what we're talking about are external reminders of the event. So for example, if someone were to hear fireworks on New Year's Eve, that could be reminiscent of a trigger. No two people's triggers are the same, so they are often unique. And they can kind of happen anywhere at any time. But it is important to make sure that if you are going into a situation, perhaps being in a crowded area is a trigger for you. Before you go into an event where you know there are going to be a lot of people, to prepare yourself and understand that there may be an opportunity for some of that anxiety to come back, and to have a plan as to what to do, whether that's being able to share that experience with someone that you're with that can help bring your anxiety down, or do some other problem solving. So in case the anxiety does become too intense, there's something else that you can do.
Unfortunately, in life, things like this continue to go on. We've had a couple horrific shootings, one in Texas, church in California, probably the most recent one. Are those other triggers that people should avoid then, or is it natural to have some sort of negative feelings or some sort of natural feelings when they hear about something like that, which was similar to their own experience?
It's absolutely normal for someone to have some type of reaction after hearing news of those horrific events. If you find that you're having a difficult time really coping after you're hearing or watching news, it may be a good idea for you to be able to talk to someone about what it is that you're experiencing as a result. We all have normal empathy, especially when we see terrible, horrible things happen to people, but making sure that you're really monitoring the amount of exposure that you're giving to yourself related to watching news and listening to the radio, and really processing what it is that you're listening to and seeing.
How about like the first responders or maybe hotel employees that happened upon many of these victims that came into their location? Is that something that could obviously affect these folks as well?
Absolutely. What we're seeing right now is really a ripple effect across the community and across communities where other individuals who were at the event went home to. So we have victims that have gone home to as far away as British Columbia and the East Coast. Those individuals have family and friends, and it can affect family and friends just as much as victims, knowing that the individual was in harm's way. First responders, hotel employees, really all experienced the event. There's no one way that you can say that one person who experienced the aftermath of what had occurred is or is not adversely affected. First responders, as well as hotel employees and others, even just bystanders who are walking nearby, certainly could be affected.
Now, we've set up here the Vegas Strong Resiliency Center, which I'm sure is a similar type of setup that they've had in many other incidents like this. What type of treatment, what type of atmosphere can people expect when they visit the Vegas Strong Resiliency Center?
The Vegas Strong Resiliency Center is actually a very welcoming and warm place to go. They've set it up, it's very home-like. When you come in, there are receptionists there who will welcome you. They're open from 10 to 7, Monday through Friday. And it's really a place for anyone who has experienced this event to be able to come and get navigation towards resources. There is some short-term supportive service available to individuals who present there, but also it's to connect individuals to resources in the community.
Is there anything else we're missing here, Doctor?
There's quite a bit that has to go into the resiliency effort. We're not looking at a short-term effort. The Resiliency Center will be around for quite some time. We're talking more years, not just months. So this is going to be a community resource, not only for individuals in Clark County, but nationwide that were impacted by the events of October 1. They will be doing a lot of outreach and engagement to victims who had to go home to other places, and making sure that those individuals have access to the supports and services that they need, not just in the short term, but in the long term as well.
And as you say, that means anywhere, regardless of where they are, if they can't come back here to our community, right?
Yes, absolutely. And this community is really going through a healing process. It's a very important process for people to go through, especially together as a community. Individuals, families, friends, people have been impacted, and having an opportunity for a community to really come together and honor that experience and also pull together to help one another heal is vitally important.
It's been more than a month now since this horrific incident and since the Resiliency Center's been open. Has there been a common thread or a common theme or common symptoms maybe of people that have been seeking services there?
So the services really range. Some people have actually continued to look for personal belongings, maybe that were left behind at the concert site. Other people are really reaching out for support, trying to figure out what it is that is available to them. Many people are just reaching out to see how do they get assistance if they need assistance. Maybe they don't need it now, but they're looking for an opportunity to have referrals. And we also have friends and family members who are reaching out to the Resiliency Center, just trying to find ways that they're going to be able to access community supports.